Hey guys, Nova Bushido here and welcome back to the channel. And today we got another discussion topic about Nintendo again. And it's about, I guess, the gaming industry recently, I guess for the past couple of years. So, we have a lot of big games coming out recently, and a lot of them not being on Nintendo. And I think the biggest game this first half of the year for Nintendo, of course, is Pokemon. But it's got me thinking, I've been thinking about this more and more since last year. When I started to realize, Sony actually has a big first party push now. They're having many first party big games coming out on their systems yearly. I mean, if I think about last year alone, we got Returnal, we got Ratchet & Clank, we had Demon Souls. So I think Demon Souls was actually the year before, maybe, I can't remember. And then we also had Spider-Man as well. This came out, I think that came out at the launch of PS5, but still, like in the window for the first year. Like, so Sony actually have a lot of first party now compared to where they were a couple years ago. And even Xbox, they're having more first party. I mean, not all of them are super successful. I mean, Halo's great, but it has issues. They have some other smaller first party and some that are kind of flopped. But like they're really building up their studio so they can come out with more first party to come, right? And I think that's fantastic. I think that's great. And then Nintendo as well. Nintendo comes out with a lot of first party, a fantastic first party. Nintendo's been known to be the best first party studio out there out of the three. But I think things are shifting a bit. I'm actually looking at PlayStation's first party lineup, and I'm not a PlayStation fan. I don't play on Sony consoles, but I can respect that the quality they put in their games, and it's quite fascinating. They put a lot of quality. Something like that, like this, they're putting in work, and Nintendo is putting in work. Don't get me wrong, but the thing is, Sony's putting in work and they're getting the third party support. Nintendo's putting in work and they don't get the third party support. Like, even when they do get third party support, it's old ports from the 360 era or the original Xbox era, or we're getting remakes from games from like the SNES or old systems, the PS1. Like, that's the type of games we get. That's the type of support we get from these other companies. Batman, the new Batman trilogy, games from generations ago. The new Star Wars. I mean, I love Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. I love it. But then again, this was a game from like 2004 or 5, that era. So we're getting the support we get on the Switch are just older games from these oldest companies. And a lot of the times nowadays, when we get support from newer games, it's all cloud versions, which is terrible. I don't want to play a cloud version of a game. Like, why would I go out my way to buy the worst option? Or get an old game already, I'm paying more. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, I might as well buy another system. Now, when I play games, I play on PC and I play on Switch. Those are my two platforms. I've always been a PC and Nintendo guy since I was like 4, like the past 24 years or so. And it's always worked for me. I've had an Xbox a couple times in the house. I've never had a Sony console, but I used to play Sony games at my cousin's house and friend's house. But for the most part, it's just been Nintendo and PC. And back in the day, I could definitely say, yeah, Nintendo's got the best first party support. And we know they didn't have the best third party, and that was fine. We could say, yeah, but they had the best first party. But these days, the other companies are catching up, and maybe they're not on par. Like, if we say Nintendo is like at 10 out of 10 when it comes to first party, and we say Sony's at 8, like 8 is good enough, considering that when it comes to third party support, Sony's at like a 10, and Nintendo's at like a 3. So, like, if you're doing maths that way, like, Sony overall is getting the more value for their first and third party, when Nintendo doesn't get that third party support to back up the high numbers that the Sony is getting. Other third party support games we get, I mean, we do get some, but if we do get new ones, it's normally like a 2D RPG or tactical RPG or something like that. And I mean, I like that. I do play some of them. Some of them are cool, but still, like, there's only so many I can get of those and feel like, you know what, I'm playing similar games. I want to try something new. I want to see some new third-party games. Like, Monster Hunter Rise built for the Switch was great. It was fantastic. Or newer games, other games built for the Switch in mind, or just games, that can run on the Switch. But unfortunately, because of the route that Nintendo have gone into console with less power, I'm more focused on playability and portability, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're going to go for that fashion, you're not going to get the power. That's true. That's just the fact. Back then, when they were creating the system, back in 2015, when they were coming up with the system, 2016 putting it together, 2017 it came out, using tech from 2015. That was what was available by then. But that was 2015. And now I'm in 2022, I'm 7 years later. PS5 has come out, Xbox Series X has come out, and S has come out. Standard systems. Specs are incredible. Even the Series S, it's incredible. And the Series S costs the same as the Switch. So, you know, sometimes it can be hard, I guess, for people to justify what they want to go for. But yeah, it's just a bit of a shame. I mean, I love my Switch. I mean, I definitely loved it more in the first couple years it came out. And I love it less and less, you know, these years, because, you know, it's just the same console. I want more power. And yes, maybe, you know, there was a lot of rumors, there was a lot of deliberation that there was going to be a Switch last year or the year before that, a new powerful Switch, but COVID pushed plans back. And let's say there's a scenario where that's true, and we say, okay, yeah, maybe that is true. Maybe, yeah, that's the case that COVID did push the plans back, but in the end, that doesn't matter, because, you know, Sony and Xbox were going through the same COVID issue, and they got to do whatever they wanted to do perfectly. They got their system, I mean, not perfectly, but they got the systems out. The systems are selling. They can't reach demand. But if you want a PS5, if you really want a PS5, you can get a PS5. It just takes a lot of effort. At least it's out there. But there isn't, you know, a strong Switch. Nintendo decided, if this is true, by the way, I'm saying if these rumors are true, Nintendo decided that they're going to hold back for a couple more years and come out in like 2023, 2024 with a new Switch. Which, I mean, yeah, if they feel like that's what they needed to do, great. But as a consumer, that doesn't matter to me. Their business decisions on what they want to do when doesn't matter to me. But what matters to me is what I want as a consumer. And, you know, I want a system where we can get more third-party support. That would be fantastic, you know. That would be fantastic to go along with the first party. And it's not just waiting, you know, for whenever the first party support is coming, every, you know, 2 or 3 months, and then waiting for a random third party support to come in, you know. And I guess you could say more than that. You can say how, you know, the online is crap, you know, there's no features online. You still can't even go through folders. You still can't even go through folders. Now, I'm not showing you my Switch right now, but I might do that. But actually, yeah, I'm going to show you my Switch. Just look how many games are right here. Just look how many games. I got so many games. I've got so many games. It's pretty insane. I mean, like, if I compare this, like, I mean, people might think if they don't, you know, watch my stuff, if they don't watch my channel, they might think, oh, this guy's a Nintendo hater. But no, if you know I'm not a Nintendo hater, so I'm just gonna show these people just in case how many games I have. Like, I'm gonna go to re-downloads. 107 items to re-download, and let's say probably like 10 of them are demos, or maybe like 7 of them are demos. So 100 games. I got pretty much 100 Switch games, which is probably like 70% more than a lot of people. I have a damn lot of games because I like to play games on my Switch. You know, indie games. You know, indie games definitely carry the Switch hard. Where we don't have the first party, you know, third party indie games are definitely the big one to bolster that up. But even then, you know, the indie games are pretty much on all systems anyway. But you know, it's always better to play them on the Switch for the most part. You know, it's a shame. I'm really hoping in 2023 we do get a new Switch, and this Switch, it can run the old games, but it can run new games at a really good quality. We get online features, we get all these features that people have been asking for since day one. People are asking for since the Wii days. This is like over 10 years ago, like 14 years ago. I'm hoping we get stuff like that, and then on top of that, we can get some third-party support coming along. That would be fantastic. I would love that. Because most of the time when I want a third-party game, I'll go to PC. Granted, I don't want them all, but if there's the one that I do want, I need to go to PC. And I think it's just in Nintendo's interest that they can keep people more in their own ecosystem, right? That's what you want. You want people to play games on your system. I know some people say, you know, Nintendo probably don't care. You know, they're not in the competition. You know, they're making their games and that's it. But if you want the money, you want to keep people in your ecosystem. You don't want people to think, you know, I'm getting a PC and then a Switch. I'm getting a PS4 and then a Switch or a Nintendo console. Like, you want it to be like, oh, I'm getting a Nintendo console. No questions about, like, in general, you don't see people saying, I need to get a PS5 and an Xbox Series X. Reason being, because they play pretty much the same games for the most part. There might be 1 or 2 games that you can't get on one, but you might get on the other. But the overlap is so much that it doesn't make too much difference, basically. But you know, people will go out of their way for a PS5 and a Switch, an Xbox Series S and a Switch, because yes, the first party of Nintendo is stellar, but at the same time, they're not getting all of the games they want. So I think it's definitely in Nintendo's best interest if they can deliver promises to people that they can get the games they want from those systems on Switch as well, to keep them in the ecosystem and just keep the business running. Like, I think that would benefit them, that'll benefit us. Like, it's a win-win. If they'll do it, I don't know. When they'll do it, who knows? I know it has to do with logistics and, you know, with what was possible at the time the system was created. But, you know, now in 2012, we're now in 2022, and, you know, I'm hoping for much more to come. I'm hoping to see more from Nintendo, definitely moving into next year. We're gonna have a lot of big games coming out for the Switch this year, but even then, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm a developer myself. I'm not a game developer. I'm a mobile app developer for like business apps and sometimes educational health apps and so on. But like, I know that I'm 100% sure that these devs who are creating these games for Nintendo, even their first party, they must be thinking, you know, we need more power. We need something more to make it easier for us to make games for the Switch. Make it easier for us to develop, and we can squeeze out, you know, it's not so difficult. We can spend less time squeezing out ways to make it run well, and, you know, work on the polish, work on maybe new features, work on other stuff, speed up the development, more ambition when it comes to certain stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure they would love that. And yes, they've been doing great despite that fact, but, you know, I'm pretty sure in this day and age they would love that. And overall, I guess it comes back to one of the things I remember hearing people say a lot, was that, you know, the more consoles sell for the Switch, you know, the bigger the install base, that third-party companies will just come in droves to make games for the Switch. But that has not happened. Apart from Japanese companies, and even then, it's still sparse. You got Capcom, you got Namco, Bandai Namco, and then you got sometimes Square with the old games. Like, sometimes it's not even a lot, it's just sometimes. Like, the biggest support of the Switch, I would say, is Capcom. I mean, they came up with Rise. They came out with a massive game just for the Switch. Monster Hunter, that's a big game. No other company's done that. The only other company in Japan that's done that is Square, and they came out with Dragon Quest, the new Dragon Quest. But that was still a port, but they did put more content, which is great. But they're going to put the next one, I can't remember if I saw they're going to put the next one on the Switch. But they're not putting new games on the Switch. Namco's not really putting new games on the Switch. I mean, Destiny Warriors, is that Namco? Yeah, I think it's Namco. Yeah, all these, you know, no, that's Toei. Yeah, that's Toei, no one. They do put some games on the Switch, but it's not all of the new bangers, you know, the big games that people have been looking forward to. No, it's the small games. Western support, it's non-existent. We got some in the first part of the generation for the Switch. The most recent one I can think of is The Witcher, and that was like, what, 2 years ago? And I think there was another one more recently from the West. I don't remember what game that was. I'm not saying we need everything, but, you know, all that talk about install base, and here we are with over 100,000 Switches out there, and where's the support? It's not there. We don't have it. It's a shame. And it just comes down to, yeah, you know, the system needs more power. Well, like I said, it needs more power. It needs more tech. It needs more capabilities, some more frameworks for devs to make it easier for them to work with. And ultimately, that comes down to the power. It comes down to the RAM. It comes down to the graphics. It comes down to the CPU, the memory bandwidth, how fast the system can read and write. You know, asynchronous programming. Well, you know, things to make the development smooth. So even when games get ported to the Switch, it's a more of a one-to-one rather than to having to rejiggle a lot of stuff for the Switch, which makes it come late, and also possibly makes it cost more, and then also possibly makes it run much worse as well, because they need to change stuff. They need to give it to an outside house rather than from the in-house, and that happens a lot. You know? So it's like there's a lot going against some of these companies to make games for the Switch. And the fact that less people are willing to do that, unless it's a cloud game, shows to me that they don't think the investment is there on the Switch to make new games for it, unless it's a cloud. because it's a cheap way out. It's a cop out basically, and that's a shame, man. That's a shame. I mean, this video's been going on long enough, but I just had a lot to talk about for this topic, man. Cause I've been thinking about it for a while. Cause I don't play Sony games, but I can praise Sony. I'm like, yo, some of your games are looking good. You know, Nintendo games are looking good too. They're great. I mean, I don't play all of them. I play probably like less than half of them. Definitely these days. Back in the GameCube era, I was buying like so many. I was playing by so many. I mean, I was a kid, man. I was broke, but I was playing as many as I could get my hands on. You know, more recently, it's not as much. I do find myself dabbling between PC and Nintendo. You know, back and forth depending on the games I want. Yeah, man. I'm just hopeful in the future they really buckle down and tackle this third party, because the first party can't carry Nintendo forever. They can't. It's impossible. I mean, it's been proven. It couldn't carry the Wii U, because it's not just all about first party. It's not. It couldn't even carry the Wii, because Nintendo first party didn't even sell too massive on the Wii. For what the Wii was, how many sold, and how many Zelda on the Wii sold like what? Like 8 million, less than that, I think. Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword didn't sell too great. Sold okay, but for coming out on 100 mil system, not much. Mario Kart sold great though, as it always does. But you know, it's a shame, innit? So yeah, that's me for today, guys. So I hope you guys like the videos. This is such a long video. I don't know. Drop some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. You know, no shade. I'm not hating on Nintendo. You know, I love Nintendo, but you know, I just wish, you know, better overall. I just wish better for them, better decisions, better in the future. I understand their decisions overall, why they may have done certain stuff. I want to say like totally understand, but you know, I do have some understanding, rather. Regardless of that, I'm pretty sure there's so many more things they could do to make it more interesting as a Switch gamer, Nintendo gamer in this day and age. Yeah, that's me, guys. Hope you guys are doing alright, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.